in the queue. Okay, third person you are okay in the queue. Then Parvani.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we have had in our previous sessions the reading of the characters of Vijay Tendulkar's Silence the Court is in session. In our previous readings of the characters played by the students in the first person, the students revealed so many aspects of the characters that we, the readers of Vijay Tendulkar's play Silence the Court is in session. Most of the participants have read the characters so well, absorbed the roles, and their presentation was so evocative that we felt that some more characters should be involved in the presentation. So today we have with us the first presentation by Devjani Bhattacharya. So may I now request Devjani Bhattacharya to unmute the mic, switch on the video, and make a presentation, please. Devjani, please.
Good afternoon, all. Today, I would like to perform the character of Leela Bane from Vijay Tendulkar's playwright Silence the Court is in Session. The character of Leela Bane is like that. Leela Bane is a bright and confident woman. She is in her 30s, and she is a school teacher, and he's a character of or a member of a living courtroom. It is revealed that she is a very good teacher, and she is also very efficient doing his other work so perfectly. And the other characters of the courtroom or in this play are very much jealous about her extra frank, witty, and her bold character. Unfortunately, Miss Leela Banare has an affair with Professor Damle and carried his baby in her womb. So this incident gave other characters a chance to let her down because they don't like Miss Benari, and they want to trap her through a mock trial. In this mock trial, Miss Benare has questioned about her sanctity and was punished punished to um, kill her child. Punished to kill her child, but no one questions Damle because he is a man and Benare is a woman. So, and even Mrs. Kashikar, who is a housewife and also a woman, doesn't oppose her insult because somehow Mrs. Kashikar is also jealous from Miss Benare because he is very independent and a bold woman, and she is not. So I think Benare here represents all the Indian women who are suppressed and oppressed. She break down during the mock trial because she was psychologically harassed, and women suffer from the orthodox customs from the male dominating society. So I think Vijay Tendulkar here portrays the character or the sufferings of the women in India by the character of Miss Leela Benare, and we can feel or we can realize this situation of our Indian women by the character of Miss Leela Benare. Thank you.
Thank you, Devjani Bhattacharya, for this excellent analysis of the character of Leela Banari. So, Leela Banari, as you have said, is caught in this game where she has to expose herself, she has to force herself out of herself. And then, once she has forced herself out, she is like a snail who comes out of the shell, hurt, and then finally she is sentenced by the court. Although the court is a mock trial and it is all a game. Leela Banari's wild cry we can always hear. We remember the last speech where Leela Banari is talking about life. She says that throw your life away and you realize the luck of having it. Guard it dearer than life, and it only seems fit to throw away. Funny, isn't it? Look after it and you feel like throwing it away. Throw it away, throw! You are blissfully happy. It is saved. Nothing satisfies. The same thing again and again. In Albert Camus' famous work, Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus says that life is a habit, the most deadening of all. And once a human being discovers this, that a human being can, of course, discover even standing at a street corner, that life is absurd, life becomes a deadening habit. And the realization of this deadening habit makes life worse than death itself. So, what is habit? Albert Camus says that life is a habit, the most deadening of all. Like Sisyphus rolling the rock uphill, like Sisyphus with hopes, rolling the rock uphill, punished in the heaven. Every day he has to roll this rock up, and when it reaches the summit, this rock rolls down. And this Sisyphus, standing on the top of this mountain cliff, finds the rock rolling down, the entire work that he has done for all these days, gradually, for all the day, gradually rolling down. Albert Camus says that this Sisyphus must laugh because this is the laughter of freedom, the laughter at the absurdity of life, the work that we do every day, every moment turns meaningless. This experience of meaninglessness in life is Leela Banare's forte. She realizes this. Life is like this. Life is so and so. Life is such and such. Life is a book that goes ripping into pieces. Life is a poisonous snake that bites itself. Life is a betrayal. Life is a fraud. Life is a drug. Life is a drudgery. Life is something that's nothing, or a nothing that's something. So, this is the courtroom where Leela Banar is actually trapped. Thank you, Devjani Bhattacharya, for this analysis of Leela Banar's character from so many perspectives that you made the character alive.
Thank you, sir.
So, we have with us Disani Murmu, a student of first semester postgraduate course of English, to make her presentation. Dishani, please unmute your mic, switch on your video, and make your presentation. Disani, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Mrs. Kashikar. I am a teacher and independent woman of the century. My husband's name is Mr. Kashikar. He is a good man, but he always mocks me and verbally abuses me. Publicly, whenever I say anything to anyone, he always makes fun of me, whatever I say. And he's kind of he likes Miss Banare. I can see that, and he always does this kind of verbal abuse to me because somehow I think he is in love with Miss Banare, but he can't speak that to her, and I am kind of depressed nowadays because I don't have a child, and I literally want a child for me and my husband to get my relationship better. But I can't have it. But I have heard that Miss Manare is carrying a baby in her womb, so I am kind of jealous towards her because of the baby and my husband's behavior towards me. So that's it. I haven't done much.
So, with such a wonderful poise, clarity of thought, presentation skill, you have made the character of Mrs. Kashikar alive to us. Mrs. Kashikar, like Mrs. Leela Banare, is also caught in this courtroom drama where we have the characters interplaying among themselves on different levels. So, being childless, she is mocked at the beginning by Miss Leela Banare, that hands that rock the cradle. Mr. Kashikar has been converted into the babe at arms of Mrs. Kashikar, and she is almost spoon feeding her husband, taking care of every tits and bits of his life. She has converted her life into that of a slave that is supporting Mr. Kashikar and the patriarchy. She plays a role in this entire game by entering into the private lives of characters, not only of Leela Banare, but also of character like Rokde, Balu Rokde, the son that is made a surrogate son of Mrs. Kashikar. She has converted this Balu Rokde into a slave, offering him little scope for his assertion of individuality or development of personality. She is trying to regulate the life even of her husband, but she is not given enough space in this, even in this court drama. But she does her role out of jealousy, out of envy, out of the fear of losing her husband to Leela Banare. Perhaps Mrs. Kashikar is playing foul. She is trying to prove everyone else in this world, the female in the world, as false, especially a woman like Leela Banare, who has an independent life, who has an independent profession to support herself, and one who has control over her own life. Mrs. Kashikar, on the other hand, wants to tell Leela Banare that it is not your life, rather, it is a life that has to be controlled by the traditional norms of patriarchy. So she is regulated consistently, continuously by Mrs. Kashikar. Mrs. Kashikar's silence, on the other hand, is also revealing that Disani Murmu talked about. The silence is her pain, the story of a woman who has lost almost everything, her independence, her identity, her individuality, and she succumbs to the pressures of patriarchy and shows her anger, shows her vengeance through this torturing of Leela Banare. Thank you, Dishani Murmu, for exposing the character of Mrs. Kashikar. So
Thank you, sir.
we have now with us, yes, who will make the next presentation?
Sir, I.
Okay, Rohit Guha. So Rohit Guha will make a presentation. Yes, Rohit, please make your presentation.
Good afternoon, all. Today I play the role of Karni. From Vijay Tendulkar's Silence, the Court is in session. Hello, I am Mr. Karni, the professional actor and the member of the living courtroom. Although I joins with Sukatme, Mr. Kasikar and Pongse in tormenting Miss Banade, and I am less of a personal emotional stake in the outcome of Miss Banade trial, perhaps because I am less conservative politically than Kasikar or Sukatme. They sees the trial is a referendum on independent women like Mrs. Banare, and I am less of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rohit Guho, for this
Yes, sir.
presentation of Karnik's character. So you are a person who has become a part of this theater group out of choice because you wanted to have a life as an actor. You prefer such experimental plays where we have intimacy between the actor and the spectator, that we call intimate theater. You are a part and parcel of the courtroom drama. In the evening, you are going to play the role of a witness in the courtroom drama based on President Johnson and his nuclear bomb. So a trial will take place in the evening. But now, in this afternoon, you are present here among the players. But what type of trial you are going to make? This trial is not of public significance, but rather you are entering into the realm of the private, exposing a kind of scandalous story about Leela Banare in order to torture her, expose her, corner her. And you are using all the theatrical tropes in order to expose her. So, in this inset play within a play sequence of improvisational play acting through rehearsals, you are searching for some kind of plot, some kind of action. On the witness box, we find you very theatrical, Karnik, you were very theatrical in the witness box. So there is this line dividing life and drama, life and theater, blurring in your case. You do not have also that maturity and knowledge that life is life, theater is theater. And if you have the doubling of life in theater, as Antonin Artaud talked about in his famous work, Theater and its Double, that there is no difference between life and theater because theater doubles life, life doubles theater. This experience between the spectator and actor, or among the actor oblique characters in the play during the rehearsal, also expose this closeness of spectator, actor spectator relationship. So you're aware of this. You know that the true picture of life should be scrutinized, analyzed in the most scientific manner. And it is the task of the play to foreground things that are, of course, not seen even in a dramatized society. Raymond Williams, in his famous essay, talks about this future of drama in a dramatized society. Raymond Williams says that there is no possibility of theater because theater in this dramatized society has just become a form of entertainment. But they were great practitioners of theater who talked about breaking the barriers and trying to make theater more meta theatrical. A theater that will expose itself. A theater will be in the process of making theater itself viable to society. It is not simply putting or holding a mirror to society. It is also showing the face of the spectators on this mirror. Theater actually, according to Aristotle, also works on the ludicrous, on the ridiculous, on the ugly that doesn't cause pain. According to Horace, theater also talks about the rectification of follies because society does not permit this. Theater allows this society to enter into its space, and by holding a mirror to society, it exposes, it shows. So we have society producing theater to comment on itself. Therefore, in theater, we have such bites, bites that bite each other, bites that work in order to expose the follies of people. Vijay Tendulkar's Silence, the Court is in Session, true to its title, talks about different layers of silence. Karnik, you are a part and parcel of these silences that you enforce on others. And you just also speak about stories that you silently heard, kept for a long time in the secret casket of your heart. And you are using those stories now as proof, as evidences that go against Leela Bane's conduct. Is Leela Bane's life not her own? What right do you have to interfere in Leela Bane's life? She hasn't interfered in your life. Or she has in the opening scene. You do not know. You suspect. Definitely there is a sense of inferiority that Rohit, you pointed out in Karni's character. A sense of inferiority. And out of this sense of inferiority and insecurity, he is trying to safeguard his interests. So Karni is really an interesting character in the play where we have a diabolic nature of Karnik. On the one hand, he talks about ideals of theater, theater that is more intimate, a theater that will break the barriers between the actor and the spectator, and talk about the realities, contingent problems, emergent problems of society, and expose the shortcomings of society. Society that produces theater, theater that produces stories, stories that produces intrigues, intimate intrigues, also punishes characters, those who are misfit. So this play walks on a tightrope between tragedy and comedy. Tightrope because on this tightrope we have characters like Mrs. Kashikar, Leela Bane, Balu Rokhde, who are trying to balance the tragic with the comic, the funny, the farcical with the pathetic. So there is this thin line dividing the tragic and the comic. Society definitely punishes those who deviate from the societal norms, especially the hegemony of society, the dominant ruling class ideologies. Those who deviate from it, they are ritualistically ritualistically punished. In tragedy, they are sacrificed on the altar of society. In comedy, they are rectified. Towards the end of the play, we do not have any scope of rectification. All the characters say, "Oh, Leela Banare, it is just a game. It is just a game." But nevertheless, we find Leela Banare is trapped like a bird in a cage, and then she is hurt by others physically, emotionally, shattered down, torn down, and finally forced to lie down with a bottle of tick, okay, poison dropping from her hands. So, Rohit, thank you for this
Thank you, sir.
analysis of Karnik's character. So, now, Parboni, are you ready with your Shukatme? So, this diabolism is there in Shukatme. So, Parboni will talk about Shukatme's character in first person. Yes, Parboni, unmute
Sir,
your mic
my
and make your video mode on.
sir, actually, I'm not really presentable, so I'm not turning my video on.
Okay,
Uh,
make a presentation then.
okay, sir. Sir, I had a request that I'm not going for a first-person narrative of Sukhatme, but rather I'm going to do a critical study on the character with the little information I have. Since
It is not
I
the game. It is not the game. It is not the game. We are playing a game where we have turned ourselves, Parboni into Shukatme. Okay, so we have conversion of Rohit into Karnik. So these are the imaginary games that we people play, even online games. So this is a compulsion that you have to play a role because we are forcing you to play Shukatme. Shukatme, you are very diabolic, you know. So you are a person who is playing a dangerous game, and we are all caught up in this game. Yes, with us now we have Parbani Mondol presenting in first person narrative the character of Shukatme of Vijay Tendulkar Silence the Court is in session. Yes, Parbani, start.
yes, sir, I'll try my best with the little information I have on my hand. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sukhatme, a briefless lawyer, and also a member of the drama troupe named the Sonarmati Tenant Progressive Association of Mumbai, promoted by Mrs. Kashikar, socially conscious. Ah, I think some girl here named Miss Bernare described me in a certain way to a person called, I guess, Samant. Oh, she explained me as innocent. Now that's ring a bell. Oh, let me say how she explained. Mrs. Kashikar explained my position in the society. Well, we have an expert on the law. I mean, she's talking about me. He's such an authority on the subject. Even a desperate client who won't go anywhere near him. I cannot think of it. Ah, what a feeling. But that sounds great. Yeah, since we have some time in our hands, why not try and go for a rehearsal? Probably can also become a game. Let's try. Listen, when we lawyers are at ease in the barrister's room, we sometimes play rummy. You know what rummy is? A great game to play with cards. Or another game. Not much, just to pass time, and that's all. Okay. Listen, I know that I am a failure in my profession. But yet, I'm very flamboyant. You cannot deny on that. According to me, I think with the ringings of Manusmriti, motherhood is very pure. Moreover, there is a great nobility in our concept of motherhood. We have acknowledged woman as the mother of mankind. Our culture enjoins us the perpetual worship of her. Hmm. I think I will call this Miss Banare the public enemy number one because of this charge on her of infanticide. How do you think the game will go on? Am I not evil? I think that sounds very good. Why not? Why not expose the society, the what we call morality, nobility, what exactly that mean? Let's find out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Parbani.
I
Thank
tried my best,
you,
sir. I don't know how that sounded.
Shukatme. Thank you, Shukatme. Now, Shukatme, you make it a point that you do not like women. You say a lot about Benare, and you even say that you are mm, of an opinion that Benare is not fit for judicial mercy, and she must be punished harshly for immersing the society in guilt and immorality. Sukatme, you think that her crime is blackened by the fact that she has made a heinous blot on the sacred brow of motherhood? So you are abusing her a lot. You're abusing her femalehood, her motherhood, her womanhood, and you talk about the things that are sacred in society. What about yourself? So, just with a sense of injury, a sense of inferiority, that you don't have a proper case in the law court, you are against this professional, successful woman, Leela Banare. So, you also talk about motherhood without marriage has always been considered a great sin by our religion and our tradition. So, your lot of loud and sound bites that you are offering to us all, the players. So, you are secretly making the play. You are the playmaker. You are the interrogator. You are the public prosecutor. You are the silent defense lawyer. You're also the judge because several pronouncements come through you. So, do you have any defense? Shukatme, why are you doing all these things? Yes, Shukatme is all the Shukatmes. I'm asking you all, those who play Shukatme. Why are you doing all this to society? All the Sukatmes. Why are you doing all this to people? Your personal, private loss, injury, inferiority has turned into such an act, abusive act of violence.
Sir, according to me, Khatme, I feel it is a feeling of inferiority.
So,
My
Sukat, yeah, inferiority, you are talking about inferiority. Yes, please explain.
my personal life inferiority, my image with my friends.
So, you are always giving more value to your Facebook identity. Yeah, interactive Facebook identity, or even your WhatsApp identity that you are more concerned with. So, you're too proud of yourself. But what you are doing a dangerous game. You're playing a dangerous game with Leela Banare. Why don't you respect her also, her privacy also? Why don't you let her independence, her space, without any kind of invasion? Why don't you let her remain what she wants to be? Why do you keep on dictating her to what she must do? One of the serious message of the play is that don't let others tell you what to do. I remember these words are given. Yeah, you remember these words are the words of
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
these words are the words. If you remember, these words are the words of Pete of Harold Pinter's The Birthday Party. When Stanley at the end of the play is being taken away, so Stanley is almost in a state of catatonic stance. Okay, trance. Clean shaven, he has been put in a black suit with a tie, and then being taken away outside this house. A black cab is waiting outside. Goldberg and McCann, they take Stanley away. At that moment, P.T. says, Stan, don't let them tell you what to do. So, interestingly, our Sukhatmes in society, they force people to do what they want them to do. So, they want to be the puppeteers with the strings in their hand, trying to control the characters of the play. All the characters have their own strings attached to others. Sukhatme is a free man. Sukhatme, you are a free man. You don't have strings. You don't allow others to keep you stringed. You don't allow others to play with your life. You're so self-conscious, so intelligent, so diabolic, so dangerous. So like McCann, you're a person who takes Leela Bane or Stanley out of herself. And then, like Goldberg and McCann, you drag her away, trying to reorient her to the society, bring her back to society. Yes, Sukhatmes, do you have any defense? So we have in Look Back in Anger, Osborne's Look Back in Anger. There at the center, we have John Osborne's famous character, Jimmy Porter. Jimmy Porter says, I want to hear a warm, thrilling voice cry out, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, I am alive, I have an idea. There we have John Osborne's Jimmy Porter standing at the cusp of society. So he is a Red Brick University graduate who has opened a sweet shop because he does not have any job. He's venting his anger. Here we have a character called Leela Bane who has a job, a secure job. But society is snatching this job away from her because of persons like Mr. Kashikar, Sukhatme, Karni, Pokshe, Mrs. Kashikar. They all interfering in the life of this lady and trying to bring her back to the fold. The last sentence that Mr. Kashikar gives is dangerous again. So in spite of Leela Bane's assertion of her free will, her right to give birth to a child, she is forced to commit abortion, infanticide, and then retain the sacred institution of marriage. Friedrich Engels, in his work Family, Private Property and the State, talks about the division of labor in the history of mankind. He says that the first division of labor was that between the male and the female. And this was the first instance of class antagonism, class oppression. The female were turned into slave. And this was done because of the transfer of property from one generation to another on patriarchal lines, patrilineal lines. And therefore, monogamy was introduced to society. This monogamy was enforced on women, while, according to William Blake, while the prostitution, the institution of prostitution that favors the heteronormative male desires, male lust, the institution of monogamy is enforced on women. And what a husband and wife must desire, according to William Blake, It is just the lineaments of gratified desire. So in this heteronormative society, in this monogamial society, it is the male who will be the owner and the female a bond slave, circulated from one to another male. And through the circulation of the male, she also must have, she also must have the legitimate identification of the person who is born in society, a new person who is born in society. Okay. So female, whenever they get the space for the assertion of self, they are regulated by such patriarchal violence in order to conform to societal norms without making any kind of judgment whether this is a moral or an immoral act. One thing is sure, that Leela Bane wants to uphold the sacred institution of motherhood by planning to bring a child whose biological father has been afraid of accepting the child. So this is the loud protest she is making against this patriarchy, that yes, the female can also assert herself by bringing a child by herself, by being an independent single woman, single mother. Nowadays, laws permit a female to give birth to a child. She's even permitted not to disclose the identity of the husband or the biological father. She has also been given this freedom to give the guardian's name as a single mother. Okay, parent, single parent. So this is also possible in modern society, but in the society of the 70s, when the play was composed, in the late 60s and the early 70s when the play was performed, even the urban society of India could not accept this type of deviation from the societal norms. So the play depicts the trauma of a female undergoing this. And so definitely you are the instrument of patriarchal repressive apparatus. Okay. So these apparatuses work silently. These apparatus works loudly. These apparatuses always try to dominate the female. So female must return home early. Female should dress properly. Female should do this. That we heard in Kamala Das's introduction. So behave like a female. That is what the society teaches her. And whenever you deviate, you are blamed because of the offenses that are committed against you. So female should come out of this sense of victimhood, according to Vijay Tendulkar. And Leela Bane definitely asserts this. She never talks herself as a victim, rather a victim who has the possibility of rising again, like Lady Lazarus in Sylvia Plath's poem. Death is theatrical. She has rehearsed death. Lady Lazarus says, yes, thrice I have done this. I know what death is. But now when I am alive again, people come and watch me. The nut crunching crowd, nut munching crowd. And what do they say about me? They say that, see, look. They look at my wounds. They peep at my life. They peep through the holes that are there. The eyes of big boss watching the female. So, Shukhatme, you are the big boss. You are the big boss with your patriarchal eyes, like the eyes of Dr. Eckelberg in Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby. You are watching everything. You're observing everything. And through this voyeuristic position, you're also controlling the lives of the female. If someone does the same thing to you, what happens to you? No one is cursing Professor Damle. No one is cursing Mr. Kashikar. No one is saying a word against Pokshe, against Karnik, even against Sukhatme. No one is there to defend Leela Bane. And Leela Bane, definitely she does defend herself in a poised, in a loud, affirmative voice. She does protest against this. So many females are born to die in the womb of their mothers. So in most economically progressive states like Haryana, Punjab, the female feticide is going on. So even before the birth, the judgment is made against the female, that she's a curse to society, Constitution is there to safeguard the life of every individual, the life to dignity, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. Where are the fraternal sisters and brothers gone in case of Leela Banare? Is justice done to her? Her liberal views, her romance, her romanticism, her sense of independence, where the mind is without fear, where the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the tireless striving stretches his arms towards perfection, where is that gone? Where is that heaven of freedom where that Leela Banare desires? Rose is red, grass is green. Where is that? So, what she can say? She can sing the song of parrot and the sparrow. She can not bemuse, she can only bemoan. She cannot have the joy, the thrilling, warm, thrilling cry. Yes, I am Leela Banare. I want to assert myself. I have a life that I control. The opening scene presents Leela Banare in such vitality. Where is that gone? Where is she at the end? Vijay Tendulkar is a patriarchal boss, super boss. And therefore he also supports this Pokshe, Mr. Kashikar, Karnik, all the vultures of society, Giddas of society. So who are scavengers? Leela Banar is their prey. They are scavenging. Scavengers are looting. Even the carcass is not left. So we now have our next presentation. Next presentation by Shomi Mukherjee. Parvani, thank you, Parvani. Thank you for your excellent. So it allowed us some space to discuss. Okay, so keep participating. We will get energized. We will encourage each other. And no shame, no blame. There is no competition. We are all cooperating to learn the play. Yes, we have now Shomi Mukherjee to present.
Sir, can
our
I
character.
keep my camera off?
As you wish. Okay, there is no pressure.
Thank
But
you, sir.
yeah, visibility is also important for us because we are unable to see each other. This online platform gives us this occasion. Okay, if you feel comfortable, okay, continue, no
Thank you, sir.
problem. There is no cheating, no shame, no blame. Okay, only cooperation, no competition. Continue, please.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. I'm Shomi Mukherjee. I'm the playing the role of Mr. Pokshe in Vijay Tendulkar's Silence, the Court is in Session. So I'm a member of the living courtroom. I'm insecure about my professional status, but tries to elevate myself by insulting and degrading those around me. I'm unmarried, and few days before, Benare asked me if I would marry her and raise her unborn child. I take her request as an insult, a sign that she doesn't respect me. I think I'm the only member in the courtroom, aside from Benare, who knows Damle is the father of the child. I reveal this as a witness during the mock trial. That's it. Thank you.
So you are a part and parcel of the suffering that she undergoes.
Sorry, sir.
Pokshe, you were offered a decent proposal. Why do you consider that as an indecent proposal by Leela Banare? Leela Banare offered you a marriage proposal, a modest proposal. So why did you consider this as an indecent proposal?
Because she was carrying someone's other's child, and she asked me to raise her child and marry her. So I find it disrespectful.
But you are a modern man of the 1970s, 60s. Modern man who has learned that Vidyasagar abolished or made the British government abolish the, like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the process. And he also talked about the remarriage of widows in society. So widow burning was there, Sati Daha was there in society. Raja Ram Mohan Rai talked about that. So this burning of widow was abolished by Indian society, by the government, the then government. And it was also seen that later on, Vidyasagar also talked about the remarriage of widows. Hindu Remarriage Act, the Widow Remarriage Act was passed by the parliament in the British government. So we have this kind of development of society, evolution of society. So our society has got rid of the black words that are written in Manusmriti that talks about the seclusion of the female who has been, I use the words of Manusmriti, who has been immoral, who has been corrupt, who has been sinful, who has been lusty, who has once upon a time tasted. Okay, I am using the words of Manusmriti. So these derogatory words are already changed by the Indian Constitution. And now the assertion of the self, even sexuality, desire, all these are there. So is it just because of the relationship with Professor Damle and the birth of the child that you are not accepting Leela Banare? Or is it something else that is hurting you? Yes, Pokshe? All the Pokshes, I am asking the same question. Yes, Pokshe, show me. Show me reply.
No, I think that's why because she was carrying someone's other's child. So um, I don't feel like that.
Okay, you say that that is a love child. Okay, that is a love child. That's
Yes,
why you don't accept that.
yes.
You don't accept a female having any kind of extramarital relationship, or a sanctity of a female is entirely lost when she has entered into a physical relationship with someone else. Why is this question of chastity and virginity and the purity of the body not related to the males? Why is Professor Damle not brought to trial? So he's also the parent. Paternity test should have been conducted on Professor Damle rather than Leela Banare. Leela Banare accepts that this is my child because she has got nothing to hide. She knows that in the womb the baby will grow, and someday or the other the world will know that she has given birth. But the person, Professor Damle, who is responsible for this, he is not being brought to the trial. So Pokshe, why don't you assault Mr. Professor Damle? Why don't you attack him? Why don't you force this person to accept, acknowledge, and let this child be born in society? Yes, Karnik, Sukhatme. So you are all learned people, you know law. Mr. Kashikar, why don't you force Professor Damle to acknowledge? So we have seen in the history so many fathers who do not acknowledge the birth of their child. They are forced by the court of law to acknowledge. You remember N.D. Tiwari? He was also forced by the court of law to acknowledge. Unfortunately, the son died few years ago. So this society also punishes the man who is responsible for this relationship based on love, based on physical attraction. But while we are shaming Leela Banare in this public space, we are not talking about Professor Damle. We keep on whispering about Leela Banare. We keep on shouting aloud against Leela Banare, but our silence, our voice is muted with reference to Professor Damle. So are we not responsible to create this rule of the patriarchy? Yes, Pokshe? Are you not responsible to perpetuate the rule of patriarchy?
Actually, the fact is, society doesn't accept a unmarried woman's pregnancy.
Yeah, you were
That's the
called,
rule.
Pokshe, you were called secretly by Leela Manare. Love proposal letter was given to you secretly. So secretly meeting this female is okay for you. You went to that restaurant to meet Leela Banare. In the park you strolled, and only when Leela Banare disclosed through a story that there is, of course, the question of the child, you resented. So when you are physically drawn to Leela Banare, when you are charmed by her personality, when you also enter into this intimate physical closeness with Leela Banare, accepting her invitation, private invitation. But when you are told the story about her illegitimate child, why did you just turn back and climb down the stair? You remember J. Alfred Prufrock? T.S. Eliot's J. Alfred Prufrock? What happens in that poem? So J. Alfred Prufrock in T.S. Eliot's poem, through his dramatic monologue, presents this man who wants to propose to a female. Now this man is a 40-year-old man. So he keeps on proposing, and then he is afraid. In the room, women come and go talking of Michelangelo. Look, look, how his legs are growing thin. So someone putting her hand, okay, or covering her face or her shoulder with a shawl will say, how his hair is growing thin. So there is a bald on my head, and how will I propose? How will I presume? So he procrastinates. He cannot propose. Pokshe, you did have this opportunity. A proposal was made to you to accept. But you cited the reason, like Balu Rokhde, the reason that this family, my society, will not accept my marriage with a woman who has a child, born out of love, with some physical relationship with someone else. So Pati Patni will not accept the vow. Otherwise, she is okay. Otherwise, she is okay. So this type of judgment regarding the female, but acceptance of the male. That's why William Blake said that the marriage is a hearse. The entire monogamial institution of marriage gives more priority to the female. Okay. Converting her into a slave while the males are freed. The institution of prostitution goes on. Polygamy is there, prevalent in society. In our ancient Indian society also, we had the Kulin Pratha. Kulin Pratha, where the Brahmins had this advantage of marrying several women. So we keep on counting the number of wives Ratan Sen had. Yeah, Ratan Singh had. Padmavati. Padmavati was a person who was trying to protect herself from Alauddin Khilji. And it is said, universally acknowledged, that she committed suicide, Johar, by sacrificing her life to escape the ravages of this man, invader, who has come to Chittor. She is one of the 100 wives of this person, Ratan Singh. So if polygamy is allowable to the males, Professor Damle has a wife, has children, but yet he has been allowed this advantage of flirting with a girl. A girl, I am talking about Leela Banare, almost half of her age. Okay, he is an elderly man. He has this guts, he has this privilege of having this liaison with this lady, Leela Banare, while Leela Banare is forced to accept the norms of patriarchy, the norms of monogamial institution of marriage, and is taught the lessons of motherhood. So I find definitely fault in Sukhatme, fault in Pokshe, fault in Karnik, especially their attitude toward the female. They want to be the colonizers of the female body. Mrs. Kashikar's body is colonized by Mr. Kashikar, and this colonized body of Mrs. Kashikar has turned infertile because she is childless, and therefore her status in society is also of a diminished status, diminished nature. Leela Banare, on the other hand, is a fertile woman. Fertile woman, she is giving birth to a child, and yet this fertility of Leela Banare, ironically, is also rejected by the patriarchy. See how the patriarchy operates through this hypocrisy, through this double standard. If that is the double standard, the sterile marriage of Mr. and Mrs. Kashikar has remained unproductive. Okay. In the eyes of patriarchy is also condemned. Whenever there is childlessness, it is always the female who is blamed. And when there is child in the womb of a mother, it is again, ironically, because the woman is unmarried, it is the woman who is blamed. See the irony. Is not this woman pregnant because Professor Damle was fertile? It also proves that yes, Mr. Damle is fertile, this Damle is immoral, is antisocial. Professor Damle has done some act that goes contrary to the traditions of Indian society. If he had fallen in love, he should have divorced, because Hindu marriage laws allow a proper divorce. He should have paid alimony to his wife and then come and become a partner and given his name to Leela Bane. Leela Bane might have become Mrs. Damle. But while Mrs. Damle is there, this Leela Bane is trapped by Professor Damle. But nowhere in the play do we have any kind of criticism of Professor Damle. So this is the hypocrisy that we find. So more such readings will be there. Thank you, Shomi Mukherjee, for presenting the character of Pope.
Thank you so much, sir.
So new characters are there waiting in the wings. Yes. Are there any characters waiting in the wings, trying to come out from the green room on this online stage to perform their character? Yes. Joydeep, you have made your presentation?
Yes, sir, I did made.
Okay. Miraj, you have made your presentation? Miraj Hussain Ansari. Miraj, please unmute your mic. Miraj, can you hear us? Please unmute your mic and make your character audible, if not visible. At the bottom of the screen, you have this icon. The mic is there. Please switch on the mic. Oyon, you have Oyon Chatterjee, you have made your presentation. So we have with us Joyashri Sen. So she has joined us. Joyashri, would you like to enter into the play? Vijay Tendulkar Silence the Court is in Session. A play written by Vijay Tendulkar, translated in English in 1970. A play that presents different characters drawn from society. These characters are also members of a theatre group, Sonarmati Entertainment Association, and they have come to a village to perform a play. Evening the play is to be performed. The name of the play is not mentioned, but it is about President Johnson and a mock trial on his nuclear bomb. In the meantime, they have time to spend. Two players are absent. Who are these two players? Professor Damle and Raute. They are absent. While the role of the lawyer is to be played by Sukhatme. He is performing the role of a lawyer. Now he plans to perform the role of both the lawyers. And Karni thinks that this is very experimental. So the same lawyer will play in favor of the accused and against the accused. He will be public prosecutor as well as defense counsel. In our society, it happens. Most of us cannot purchase good lawyers to defend ourselves. In the court of law, this often happens, that those who can purchase law, purchase the best of lawyers, they win the cases. So Sukhatme plans to perform both the roles, thereby implicating, convicting Miss Benare of committing the most heinous crime against motherhood by bringing a child in her womb without marriage. So she becomes an adulteress. She becomes a temptress, a seductress, accidentally also the mother of a fatherless child. Biological father is always there, but that biological father is not accused for this crime of which she is accused of. Giving birth to a child is not a crime, but forcing the child's death is, of course, crime. This infanticide that is imposed on her is an infanticide committed by society that does not bring Professor Damle to justice, rather keep on accusing Leela Banare. Had Leela Banare been born today, had she been there today, she might have asserted her right to give birth to a child, and the legal framework would have supported her. So she becomes a messiah of those women, those suffering women who had to abandon their child born out of love, premarital, even postmarital, abandon the child on the altar of this patriarchal society that debases women and converts her into an object for the gratification of lust and desire, forcing her into the task of maternity without giving her the necessary support, nutritional support, societal support, economic support, educational support. So this is a form of violence. So do we have any other characters to represent these?
Sir, I would like to make a point.
Yes.
I think, sir, the way this session is progressing, I think we are missing out a point that how this play is representing the feebleness, the what to say, I don't know, the feebleness of the judiciary of the country, the judicial system of the country, which itself is serving as the altar of the sacrifice.
Definitely, I accept your viewpoint, and this is more of a satire against the prevalent justice system, judiciary system. I said this is a blindfolded law that does not give its own verdict based on the circumstantial evidences, but rather they depend on witnesses who have their own private prejudices, false stories to say, and all these false stories are placed. So this is a mockery of the mock trial court that we find. It is a mockery of the serious judiciary system that we find in the play. And through this, Vijay Tendulkar is making his point clear that laws are made by human beings and laws are also destroyed by human beings. The basic fundamental rights that are enshrined by the Constitution, I talked about these: justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, right to life, right to independence, right to education, right of worship, right of faith, so right of language. All these are fundamental to the Indian Constitution. Gender equality, even the transgenders nowadays have been given equal power, privileges in society. But then there is the querying, there is a transgendering of those who are deviating from this heteronormative society. So as if the world is made only by the male and out of the male by the female. There is nothing, there is no territory left in between. And entire norms that are set, these are patriarchal. In the Indian Constitution, there is enough space, enough scope for this security, for this progressive equality of female in Indian society. So many times the word gender has been used. The play shows that this female is made into a weakling, into a vulnerable being by the judicial system also. So these are not false dress of the lawyers, the wig of the judge that is put on by the players, although they keep on saying that this is just a game, this is just a game. But it is not a game, it is a game that is, of course, played in most of the court halls, courtrooms. So after this play was produced, we have several plays or several cinemas that were based on the same stories. If you have any privilege to see those movies or actual court proceedings, even against the accused in the rape trials. Most of the rape accused, say up to Nirbhaya case, were let scot free because of the absence of witness, because of the absence of evidence. Our near memory of the Hathras evidence, you remember, for 7 days, even the evidences were not taken into account. If the evidences are put in the courtroom, parallel narrative are set, alternative stories are told, questions are raised regarding the character of the female. No one talks about the males. So even the encounter killing of the males, okay, who were accused of committing rape, was non-judicial, extrajudicial. That killing was also bad. But think of those who are not taking any action against this. So we have so many examples. The failure of the police system to take into account cognizance of the crime. Think about the judicial system, where the simple testimony of the victim is sufficient by new laws. The testimony of the victim is sufficient to accuse, to convict, and put that person to trial, even death sentence. Nirbhaya case almost culminated to the trial. The proper trial took place because of public outcry. But with India having female abused every hour, where are the trials? Those trials that come to the media glare, where we have the picture of the judicial system. But even among those that get the limelight, we have so many things that are happening in the courtroom proceedings. In the courtroom proceeding, whatever is done is against justice. In the Constitution, we have several articles defending our fundamental rights, and right to judicial remedy is also one of such rights. But such judicial remedies are totally negated by the same men who control the institutions, the police system, the police administration, the judicial system. So in such judicial trial, we do not have the presence of the female judge. In the policing system, we do not have the presence of the female police officers. And when female police officers are given this opportunity, when they want to say that yes, it is the testimony of the victim that is sufficient to implicate, convict the accused, they are denied that power, because the entire hierarchy of power, hierarchy of knowledge, hierarchy of rule of the judiciary system is vested in the hands of dominant patriarchs, the big boss of society. Thank you, Parvani, for pointing out this. Leela Bane is not only the victim of this dominant patriarchy, she is also the victim of the prevalent judicial system that should be more sensitive. A woman should not be asked questions in public, okay, regarding her character and conduct, when the same questions are not asked to the males. So Devojyoti did not go to ask Professor Damle. Okay, sorry, Sukhatme did not go to ask Professor Damle. Why? Sukhatme, you are so trained, well trained as a lawyer, although you don't have case in your real life, but in the trial scene, you should have presented Professor Damle on the witness box. Imaginatively, someone might have played the role of Professor Damle. He is not brought to law, and law takes its own course. What is the course law takes? Into the desert. Yeah, the river flows. The course of law in the desert will dry up because of the dead traditions. So what is the ruling law of the land? The ruling law of the land is definitely patriarchal law. That must be disputed. Here it is not the males that are responsible, but the institutions that are feudal and patriarchal that must be made responsible. And males, do play their own roles. Even the females, like Mrs. Kashikar, play their role in supporting the patriarchal institutions that are lopsided in favor of the males. Yes, observation, comment, commentaries regarding the characters, their conduct.
Sir, another one I would like
So we
to
have an
mention. I
excellent
think,
picture of society. Yes.
sir, I think this character of Sukhatme, he is a great example of both Aristotle's and Horace's sayings.
Yeah, make it clear, please.
Yeah,
Aristotle talked about tragic hero. Aristotle talked about tragic hero, a person of noble birth, of high fortune, a person who is
yeah,
moving
I'm
from
not
the
actually
state of
watching it. I'm not watching it that way. What I'm saying
ignorance
is
to
that,
enlightenment.
yeah, but Sukhatme is the one who brought out this tragedy of Miss Leela Banare, I would say.
So he's a
And
villain. You say that he's a villain of the piece.
yes, he is more like I forgot the name of the character.
So is he a villain? Just simply tell me, he's a negative character or a positive character?
Well,
He's around.
that is
Yes.
disputable at the same time, because he is playing the role of prosecutor and also defense counsel.
So when
But
he is,
I would view he's as negative because he's the one who is starting the game.
yes, as a defense counsel, you were asked to defend Leela Banare.
Hmm.
Did you? Or did you simply play in the hands of the prosecution, accusing Leela Banare of the crime? You did not play your role as a defense lawyer. You did not defend Leela Banare. Not a single word was spoken by you, by Sukhatme, sorry, by Sukhatme to defend Leela Banare. It is her life. It is her life. She will decide with whom to fall in love. It is her life to decide whether to bring the child to the earth or not. It is her life to select a name of a father or her future lover, whatever she wants. It is her life. So you did not defend her life. Life, right to dignity, right to justice, judicial remedy. You did not defend. You simply played in the hands of the dominant institutions of patriarchy, trying to show this female as an adulteress, as a wild woman, as a seductress, as a woman gone wrong, as a man who has trapped Professor Damle, as a man who has seduced this man, and then, unfortunately, she has also brought a baby.
Yes,
Therefore,
sir.
she
For
is,
me,
yes,
yes, sir. For me, Sukhatme is like Iago of Othello, the Moor of Venice.
interesting comparison. Okay. So you find that this is a person who is always hiding his real intention and secretly planning to avenge whatever little injuries that Leela Banar has done. So he is also an avenger, patriarchal avenger, because this woman has crossed the threshold, like Nura Helmer of A Doll's House, who slammed the door against patriarchy and stepped out of the house because of the indifference of the husband. She has forged a check, okay, her father's handwriting, in order to support her husband. The husband got cured, returned home, got his job back. And when this husband, the same husband, knows about Lila Banare's forgery, he accuses Nura Helmer, sorry, Lila Banare, Nura Helmer of committing a heinous crime. And what Nura Helmer does, she slams the door against patriarchy, steps out. So Lila Banare also plans to step out, slamming the door against Professor Damle. She is searching for her right to life, right to a life with dignity. That's why she's searching for a name, for a husband, so that the child is not called a bastard. So, what is her fault? But no one is there to defend her. Not a single character in the play come to his rescue, to her rescue. Even an innocent villager, Samant. Where is Samant in our text? No character plays Samant. Yes, we heard nothing about Samant in detail. So even Samant plays a role in this institutionalized torment of Leela Bane, especially as a witness. So most of the witness tell the stories that are written by others. Vijay Tendulkar talks about this story written by a novelist from whose pages we have the testimony of Samant. See how this testimony of Samant, that is a false testimony taken from a novel, fits into the narrative. Fits into the narrative. It is always a female who is responsible for the suffering of man, for the fall of man. So this is always enshrined. So in Bible it is said that he, Adam, for God only, she for God in him. And she, Eve, when she is tempted by Satan, Satan appears in the robes of a serpent, whispering into the ears of Eve. What are the words? Satan says, look at yourself. Eve is gazing at the crystal clear water of the lake, appreciating her own beauty, her nakedness. And there Satan says, why should your beauty be controlled by the God? Why should you be prohibited from tasting the apple of the central tree? Why should you be forbidden from knowledge? Being inspired by Satan, Eve asserts her independence to taste the fruit of the forbidden tree, the fruit of knowledge. So Mary Wollstonecraft talks about this. Why should not Eve taste this forbidden fruit of knowledge? Why should this restriction be imposed? So when this Eve tastes the fruit and then offers Adam to taste, to share her experience of joy, experience of knowledge, experience of wisdom, she is accused. She is accused by Adam for her fall, for his fall. So both are thrown out of the garden. Satan is also blamed. Satan, the snake, is blamed. Thou shalt lie under the debris, thou shalt lie under the soil, thou shalt be brown ashed. And whenever the daughters, the sons of Eve will see you, they will beat you. They will accuse you, they will beat you, crush you down under your heel. And whenever they crush you down under your heel, you will bite back. The snake will bite back. So even this entire allegory of the snake and Satan and Eve is related to the female of society, Western societies, Indian societies. Even in Western societies, the most progressive societies. So the patriarchy will keep on telling the female what is their role, what is their job, what is their vocation, what is the territory. In Indian society, it is always ghore, where she is captivated, kept captivated. And it is the baire where the males rule. And when this female steps out of the domestic world, works in a school, becomes a teacher, asserts a right to love, asserts a right to give birth to a child, she is again pushed into the confined world of motherhood, to nurture babies, to produce babies in a monogamial prison house, work from day to night without any job, without any wage, without any economic support, and kept dependent on the males. Even when she gets that economic independence, she gets an education, she is forced to return back because of the violence that is there outside against the female. The violence that is there in the public world is kept in order to force the female to their domestic territory. Leela Bane is also pushed to that domestic world. So what will Leela Bane do after this play, after this mock trial? So she will be performing in the evening play. She will return home. Either first choice, commit suicide. Second choice, okay, she has lost her job. So second choice, she will confine herself to her mother's house give birth to a child, and then this child will be offered to an orphanage. She will leave her home and move to an unknown place where she will remain anonymous. She will change her name. The third choice, the third choice, she will get a man. She will get a man, marry, and become a wife. So these are the alternatives left. These are the alternatives left for her. But where is her life if a female has just 10 months bearing a child? The entire life of a female will be decided by her maternity term. Is it possible? Males have lives, they have so many things, but the entire female life will be determined by her role as a wife, as a mother. Does she not have any other roles? Roles as an individual, as a being. A husband is not a husband for the entire life period, but a woman is a wife, woman is a mother, even when she is born. Therefore, a curse. To become a wife, the family has to pay dowry. Dowry system is most prevalent in the most progressive members, among the most progressive members of Indian society, most moneyed class. Among the most moneyed class, dowry system is still prevalent in Indian society. So even at the time of birth, she is determined by the price, bride price, that she has to offer. So whatever she does, that is to prepare this lady, this girl child, beti bachao, in order to make the beti a wife. And therefore, through this wife, the sacred institution of motherhood. And once she is mother, mother for the entire life. Okay. The man is a man, that fatherhood, that husbandhood is just an occasional chapter in the life of a man. But in case of a female, the entire circulation of the female among the males revolves around this sacred institution of marriage and motherhood. Anything outside that is regarded as deviation from the norms. This plays a vindictive satire against the immoral practices that are there in male society, in dominant patriarchal society. And these evils have even crept into the matriarchal societies of India. So we have matriarchal societies in Manipur. Even in such matriarchal society, the evils of this patriarchal, feudal patriarchy has crept in. And with Brahminical patriarchy, with feudal Brahminical patriarchy, the things have become worse. Yes, any other observation you want to make?
Sir, can I ask something?
Yes, make your observation. Asking is something different. So you are intellectual enough to make your observations.
Sir, by accusing and hunting Miss Benare during the session, every character is trying to uh, give some comfort to their unresolved complexities, identity crisis, and all that. So, sir, from this perspective, I think even though they are acting like a boss, but actually they are nothing but a fly entangled in the societal norms.
Thank you. I do agree with whatever you said. Very mature comment, critical comment, raising the fundamental issue regarding our conduct in society, private morality, behavior in public. So we are all snails, cocooned. Okay, selves are there. So we are all too conscious about our own images, both public and private images. And we are all so vulnerable that at every drop of a hat, we keep on searching for faults in others. And by searching the faults in others, what we are doing, we are hiding our own faults. Definitely, comedy punishes the misfit and tries to bring that person to the main line. But here we find all the characters are misfits. They have all their own private stories of failures, and simply to pamper their own egos in order to justify that they are superior to others, especially with reference to private morality, public conduct. They want to implicate Leela Banare and put her to shame. Therefore, this public shame, as Rishabh Dev has rightly pointed out, is a part of personal pain that the characters have. The internal sense of inferiority, sense of vulnerability, sense of ennui, alienation, sense of injury that they have had in their lives, loss, failures, Sukhatme failure as a lawyer, Karnik's failure, Poksha's failure, all these failures, Mr. Kashikar's failure. He is a childless father. Society is blaming him also for the failure to bring a child. So all these personal failures are kept under the wraps, swept under the carpet. And on the carpet we have the slashing, the lashing, the beating, the killing of Leela Banare, forcing her to confess her sin. And once she confesses her sin, the ego of other characters get pampered, because in the public space they are not shamed. They don't have to confess their own guilt, their own sin, their stigmas, the injuries that they have, they bear. So in order to overcome their own personal failures, they become triumphant in this battle of sex by further marginalizing this wronged woman. Leela Banare is definitely a woman more sinned against than sinning, more wronged against than wronging, more insulted. If you say that yes, she is also insulting the characters, but she is more insulted than insulting others. So we have this character of Leela Banare as a person trapped, like Rishabh Dev's characters who are trapped like flies in the web of society. And once they are trapped, what will the flies do? Either they have to rescue themselves out of the trap, or they have to remain in the trap, showing the spider that Leela Banare is also a fly. Eat, suck, kill Leela Banare first, then come to us. Thank you, Rishabh, for your observation. Critical, interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Provocative. Yes, your comment was also provocative. Thank you. So why don't you provoke your friends to make such slanderous comment? Yeah, we need such voices in the public space, especially by the female students. Why don't they speak out? Why don't they speak out? Yeah.
I have one question.
No
Yes.
question. No question.
So
We
it,
are all equal. No
yeah,
questions. We are all equal. We are all students. We are learning things. Make your observation.
actually, it's not any question. I want to compare Sukatme with someone else. So can I say?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yes, actually, in Macbeth of William Shakespeare, we have seen three sisters who had provoked Macbeth to go ahead and captured all the sovereignty of Duncan. So, as per that thought, I might say here that Sukhat may also had acted something like that, like three sisters, which we had seen in Macbeth, that he also provoked to say the real scenario what had happened in Leela Banare's life, and also that was quite in flamboyant voice. Even we had seen in Act 1 that Sukhat may also told something in affected tones like very nice, very sweet, Miss Banare, when Miss Banare had started to say something. So there was something unscrupulous vices in Sukhatme's mind always. So we can compare him with three sisters in Macbeth. So am I right, sir?
The court is in session.
Yes, but
Okay,
I.
the court is in session. So I won't be
Hmm.
using the gavel to silence the voices. Okay. In literature, we all have voices. Okay. All the voices are correct. Okay. Either they are right or they are wrong. If you can justify that this voice that you're talking about is there in
Yes,
the play,
I'm talking about.
yes, that is your voice. That is your reading of the play. Why should you get for why should you ask for judgments from others?
No, sir, I'm not asking for any judgment. Just I am saying it, and I'm
Yes,
sure that I'm correct in my sense.
bas, that is all. If Leela Banare says that yes, this is this, Leela Banare is correct. If Sukhatme says that this is this, Sukhatme is also correct. But the question is how to solve the problem. The question is how to solve the problem. The problem is there, exposed by Vijay Tendulkar. It's a dialectical play, a scientific play. So we, the readers of the play, we, the performers of the play, will rationalize the practices that are done by the characters. We will try to understand the real motivations, the subtle motivations. So without blaming the witches for the fall of Macbeth, should Macbeth be not taught that it is your own secret desire, your own vaulting ambition
Yes,
that made you? Why should we blame Lady Macbeth? So Lady Macbeth is often called the fourth witch of
yes,
the play.
absolutely. He had also provoked, but later we had seen that he had taken suicidal act.
Why? Why the court of Macbeth has forced Lady Macbeth to commit suicide?
Because there was something and I want to say that Lady Macbeth had done something unconsciously, and thereafter he had realized that there was something unscrupulous activity that she had done, and for that reason she had taken that action.
Yes, the question is now open to the house. So a person commits a crime, commits suicide. A person commits the same crime, faces death boldly, knowing that he will die of a person not born of woman, faces him.
But
I will fight. So the question is there no double standard here? Don't you find any double standard of the patriarchal Shakespeare? Don't you find any kind of trial made on Lady Macbeth by society, forcing Lady Macbeth to commit suicide?
um yes, there is one kind of image of patriarchal society because at the end of that whole day, we can see that everyone will cherish the victory of Macbeth. Well, it's not happening at the end, uh, but if it were possible, then we used to see that everyone used to admonish to Lady Macbeth because he was the main character who had provoked at first the king, I mean Macbeth, to do all that work. So there was a little touch of patriarchal society.
There is always patriarchy in Shakespeare. There is always the same double standard in Shakespeare. So when we have in Antony and Cleopatra, Cleopatra is blamed. She is forced to
Yes,
commit suicide.
Cleopatra. Yes,
Yeah, she is blamed. She is forced to commit suicide.
yes.
So when we
Later.
have in Othello, Othello enters the stage, put out the light and then put out the light. If I quench thee, thou flaming minister, you cannot betray any other men. What is this story? Why is Desdemona killed? Why is Desdemona killed? Accused of losing a handkerchief. So she is also blamed, like Leela Banare, of infidelity. So Hamlet enters the stage, says, "Frailty, thy name is woman," accusing her mother So Claudius is there. You cannot fight with Claudius king, who has actually killed your father. Your father's ghost has told you that it is Claudius who has killed him. But you are fighting against the mother, accusing the mother who has married the uncle. Just a month, and you have married. What will this Hamlet do? Hamlet even rejects Ophelia. What is the fault of Ophelia? If the mother has truly participated in a crime against an ineffectual husband, killing the husband and giving her desired prominence, allowing this King Claudius to become the ruler of Denmark, why should Ophelia be blamed for Gertrude's assertion of her femininity, her female strength, her female power? So go to a nunnery. Who are you to judge, Hamlet? I'm asking Shakespeare. Lima, don't mind. I'm asking Shakespeare.
Okay,
Why should Hamlet send Ophelia to nunnery? So trials are going on. See how many trials. How many trials are going on? So in the entire world of Shakespeare, the trial is on. The court is in session. In Measure for Measure. So even in Merchant of Venice, Portia has to take the garb of a male lawyer. If she is intelligent, she is independent, she wants to assert herself, she wants to rescue her lover, Bassanio. Why should she disguise herself as a male? Why should Viola be disguised as Cesario just to exist, while Sebastian simply roams free in this foreign land? A female has to have that patriarchal guard. And whenever anything goes wrong, especially in the male world, the female is always accused. So Adam also blames Eve for offering him the forbidden fruit taste. Where were you? Your independence, your intellectual assertion of self, your independent judgment, where was it? You should have asked Eve not to taste. So God has made me, God has given me this order, I will not disobey. He also disobeys. Eve and Adam both disobey, and it is Eve who is blamed for the fall of mankind. So Lady Macbeth is forced to commit suicide by society, while Macbeth is hailed as the tragic hero of the play. Oedipus is in Sophocles' play, Oedipus is hailed as a tragic hero, while Jocasta is forced to commit suicide. See, Jocasta is the mother of Oedipus. Once she knows about this, she has given birth to children, illegitimate children, born out of a wedlock between the son and mother. And what she does? She commits suicide. Oedipus takes the pin out of Jocasta's hair, blinds himself, because he thinks that when he had eyes, he could not see the truth. Now, in order to clear the darkness, he must lose his eyes and walk scot-free. Goes to exile. Euripides' Medea does not follow this. She does revenge. When Jason betrays her, she kills her own children. Okay, the new lover of Jason, with her magical power, Medea forces her to commit suicide. She avenges her position as a wrong woman, asserts her free will, sacrifices her own children in order to punish Jason, in order to teach Jason what is suffering, what is abandonment, what is the loss of beloved dear ones. In order to punish Jason, she kills her own children and then calls Aegus, extramarital Aegus. Come Aegus, take me on your chariot. Towards the end of the play, in Euripides' Medea, she flies away. Medea flies away, goes away. So no court is in session there. Vijay Tendulkar, where does he stay? So my question for our debate next day, would you consider Vijay Tendulkar as a feminist writer or as an anti-feminist writer? Okay, this is the debate that we will have in our next session. So now for today, silence the court has ended. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So the court is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, next proceeding will start with this trial on Vijay Tendulkar, whether